Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, November 13. In Squiz Kids Today, protests in the streets, India's Festival of Light, Aussie surfer rides brachiosaurus wave, and the bear who came to dinner. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
It's been a tough old weekend on the world news front as continued fighting between Israel and Hamas in the Middle East has sparked protests around the globe. More than 300,000 people took to the streets of big international cities like London and Paris over the weekend, and there were protests here in Australia too yesterday as people on both sides of the conflict marched to show their support for their side. So, what's a protest? Often it's a gathering in a public place of a group of people who all share the same views about something. In this case, the war in the Middle East. In Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane, thousands marched yesterday, some in support of Palestine, others in support of Israel. And while the unfolding situation in Gaza is distressing and passions run high on both sides of the conflict, peaceful protests are a sign of a healthy democracy, which we can be grateful that we live in.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in India. And in fact, all over the world, where Hindus, Sikhs, Jains and newer Buddhists have been celebrating one of the most important dates on their calendar, Diwali. What, I hear you ask, is Diwali? It's a celebration, broadly speaking, of the triumph of light over darkness, of good over evil, of knowledge over ignorance. And given what's been going on in the world of late, it's a timely celebration indeed. In homes all over the world, lamps and candles are lit, gold and silver is bought, gifts are exchanged, and families get together to share food and celebrate. Festivals are held right across India for the major holiday, with great big celebrations in cities and towns all over the country, incorporating fireworks and elaborate laser shows, plus the creation of rangolis outside homes, an intricate mix of coloured powders, flowers, and rice to ward off evil spirits. So, be sure to wish your Hindu friends a happy Diwali this week. And here's to the triumph of light over darkness.
Sport time!
Speaking of triumphs, there were plenty of sporting ones to celebrate over the weekend, starting with Australia advancing to the Cricket World Cup semi-finals after beating Bangladesh in their final pool match at the weekend. Aussie batsman Mitch Marsh led the Aussies to their convincing win. Just 4 days after his teammate Glenn Maxwell walloped 10 sixes in an extraordinary double century against Afghanistan, Marsh hammered 9 sixes along with 17 fours, scoring 177 not out from just 136 balls to help defeat Bangladesh. Wowzers. A big Squiz Kids shout out too to Aussie cricketer Meg Lanning, who announced her retirement on Friday after a stellar career, including serving as Australian captain in what has been the team's most successful period of international competition ever. And congrats also to Aussie surfer Laura Enever. Over the weekend, the Guinness Book of World Records confirmed that a wave she rode in Hawaii earlier this year is the biggest ever ridden by a female surfer, measuring a whopping 13.3 metres. That's higher than a telegraph pole, or, for the dinosaur lovers among you, about the height of your average brachiosaurus. A dinosaur wave. Cool. And finally, the AFLW season is in serious semi-final mode after the Swans beat the Suns, the Lions just edged out the Crows, the Cats beat the Bombers, and the Kangaroos beat the Demons in Melbourne's local derby. And if none of that made any sense to you, ask one of your AFL-loving friends to translate.
Animal Kingdom.
A family in Florida in the United States got the shock of their lives over the weekend when a big black bear walked up to their front door and stole their Uber Eats. The family was looking forward to a meal of home-delivered takeaway, and the food was dropped at their front door. But before they had a chance to wander out and collect it, a black bear sauntered up the garden path, had a sniff, and decided it smelled pretty good. The bear scooped up the Uber Eats bag and walked off into the bushes. Hey, who's to say bears don't like a bit of takeaway every now and then too? Can you hear that? That's the sound of summer holidays, and they're not far away. Which is why we, here at Squiz Kids, are getting ready for the looming school holidays by putting together a bunch of cool summer content, including our bumper school holiday quizzes, shortcuts and Squiz the Worlds, and announcing the return of the great big Squiz Kids Holiday Joke-a-thon. The perfect podcast for those lazy summer days, holidays and road trips. So, do you have a cool joke that you'd like to share with the kids of Australia? Then put it in an email and send it pronto, along with your name, age and where you live, to squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Christy and I will collect your jokes and turn them into a podcast of unprecedented, side-splitting, jaw-hurting hilarity. Because who doesn't like a laugh?
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Which team did Australia's men's cricket team beat at the weekend to advance to the Cricket World Cup semi-finals? Yeah, a bit of a toughie that one, huh? Well done if you said Bangladesh. Question number 2. Aussie surfer Laura Eneva entered the Guinness Book of World Records for riding a wave which was as big as which dinosaur? Yeah, well done if you said brachiosaurus. Question number 3. Name the big Hindu festival being celebrated this week with the lighting of candles and lamps. Yeah, that's right, it's Diwali.
Shout-outs.
It's November 13. Today, my friends, is World Kindness Day. A day for random acts of kindness. Because a little bit of kindness can brighten even the darkest day. So, put your kind pants on today. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. Sagi from Cannon Hill, Layla from Launceston, Archer from Freshwater, Sajad and Fatima from Sefton, Django from Lismore, Lilia from Dubbo, Isabella from Hornsby, Mahad from Schofields, Hannah from Brentwood, Lucas from Oran Park, and Greg from Donvale. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Elsie from Hawthorne East, Jessica from Caringbah, Aria from Perth, Poppy from Adelaide, Joseph from Riverwood, and Madden from Tregear. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Class 6B and Ms. Lang at Alamanda College in Point Cook, Class 45M and Miss Murphy at Hamilton North Primary School, Class 5L and Ms. Leon at Beverly Hills Public School in Sydney, Class 5 Blue and Mr. Rickwood at Holy Rosary Catholic School in Claremont, Classes 3 to 6 with Mrs. Price at Nundle Public School, the Year 4 classes with Mrs. Schmitzer and Ms. Thompson at Googong Public School, Class 5 Blue with Mr. De Silva at St. Mel's Catholic Primary School in Campsie, the Friendship class with Miss Prime at Minlaton District School, and to Miss Honors class at St. Columba's Memorial School in Yorktown. And finally, to Austin, Alyssa and their mum, who listen to the podcast every morning on the way to school, and to Isabella Lee, who's 10 years old, lives on the central coast of New South Wales, and has been listening to Squiz Kids for 3 whole years. Thanks, guys. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with a Squiz Kids shortcut on bushfires. A 10-minute deep dive into why they happen so frequently in Australia, what to do if you're in one, and how Indigenous knowledge built up over 65,000 years can help us. And don't forget, if you like what we do, Tell your friends, or even better, chuck us a like or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's really important to helping us grow and allowing us to continue to do what we do. In the meantime, though, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.